Hello students, today's video lesson is from lesson 1 of your science 10th class. Basically you find that these questions are your back exercise which is there. So we have taken questions from exercise. In all you have to attempt today 11 questions. Question 1, what does one mean by exothermic and endothermic reactions? Give examples. Why is respiration considered an exothermic reaction? Explain. So this you have to complete today. I'll just give you small explanations for various of these questions so that uh, you can attempt this without much of problem. So the first question we'll attempt today, that exothermic reaction. A reaction in which heat is released is called an exothermic reaction. For example, if you see methane gas, we burn it in our kitchen and then carbon dioxide is produced, water is released, but a lot of heat is also produced. So it's an exothermic reaction. Same goes with carbon also. When you burn coal in the presence of oxygen, so carbon dioxide gas is formed and heat is also released. So these are the examples of exothermic reaction. Now, uh, endothermic reaction is just reverse, you can say. A reaction in which heat is absorbed is called endothermic reaction. The example comes from silver chloride. When you leave this silver chloride in sunlight, what we find? It absorbs heat from the sunlight and then turns gray. Why it turns gray? Because this AgCl basically releases or decomposes, we should say, in presence of sunlight into silver and chlorine gas. Why is respiration considered an exothermic reaction? What we take, as you are aware of, during breathing air inside the body, and then this air has got oxygen. So this oxygen combines with the glucose which is present there in the cells, and this turns glucose into carbon dioxide, water, and energy is released. And as you know, energy is used for various day-to-day activities which we perform. The next question is, why are decomposition reactions called opposite of combination reactions? Write equations for these reactions. Well, you know, decomposition reaction is the one in which a substance is broken down or decomposed into two or more substances, while in combination, two or more substances they combine to form one substance. So here are the examples. In decomposition reaction, calcium carbonate, when it is heated, it uh, decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So it is a decomposition reaction. While hydrogen gas plus chlorine gas, they form two molecules of hydrochloric gas, correction, hydrogen chloride gas. It's a combination reaction. So the decomposition reactions are called opposite of combination reactions. Then your next question, write one equation each for decomposition reactions where energy is supplied in the form of heat, light or electricity. So here are three equations. The first, calcium carbonate breaks down or decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Of course, heat is supplied in the form, energy is supplied in the form of heat. Second reaction is it takes place in the presence of sunlight. Silver chloride decomposes into silver and chlorine. Third reaction is water in the presence of electricity. This is basically electrolysis as we call it. It changes into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So that is how the reaction goes. As you find, the next reaction is quite simple one, displacement and double displacement. What are the differences? So equation you have to write, of course. So when a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its salt solution, then it is called displacement reaction. For example, here we find magnesium, more reactive element displaces hydrogen here to form magnesium chloride here, and this hydrogen gas is also released. While there is an exchange of ions between the reactants to produce new substances, then we call it double displacement reactions. As you are aware of, these chemicals or compounds, they are formed of two ions. For example, in potassium bromide, we have got potassium 1K positive ion and bromine or bromide rather, Br1 negative ion. Similarly, barium has got Ba2 positive and Cl1 negative ions. So they are these ions are exchanged. So K comes this side, Ba goes this side. So we find becoming BaBr2. So this is barium bromide. Remember one thing, because valency of barium is 2. So we write BaBr2. Same goes with potassium chloride. So double displacement reaction, and here double displacement takes place, you can say. So this reaction is double displacement reaction. Then we move to our next question, question 14. In the refining of silver, the recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution involved displacement by copper metal. Write down the reaction involved. Now, in this reaction, what happens? Silver nitrate in the presence of copper. Here we find it is replaced by copper. So copper replaces silver, more reactive element as we know. So it becomes copper nitrate. Remember, the valency of copper is 2 and of nitrate is 1. So it becomes CuNO3 twice. As I keep telling you, you should not say it NO3 2. No, it is not 2, it is CuNO3 twice. Use this word twice. And if it is in liquid form, so of course, then write L over here. Or we can also write aqueous, and silver is also formed, which is of course solid. Next, 15th question, quite important otherwise. What do you mean by precipitation reaction? Explain by giving examples. So reaction in which precipitate is formed are called precipitation reactions. Generally in a precipitation reaction, insoluble salts are settled down as precipitate because they are in solid form, so they settle down. For example, when we take a reaction between sodium sulfate and barium chloride, so here first both the ions are exchanged, so it becomes barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is remains aqueous solution, but barium sulfate precipitates out. So that is why it is a precipitation reaction, and it's in solid form. In this reaction, sodium sulfate reacts with barium chloride and white precipitate. So remember one thing, that barium sulfate is white precipitate. So these white precipitates are formed over here. We move to our next question. Explain the following in terms of gain or loss of oxygen with 2 examples each. So here we have to give 2 examples. First is of oxidation, second is of reduction. Well, students, as you know, when a substance gains oxygen or loses hydrogen during a reaction, it is called oxidation. So 2 parameters remember here. One, either it should gain oxygen. For example, copper here gains oxygen in the presence of heat and gives you copper oxide. While in second case, what we find, hydrogen gains oxygen to form water. So hydrogen is oxidized to water. Now reduction, if a substance loses oxygen or gains hydrogen during a reaction, it is that substance is reduced. For example, in this case we find manganese oxide plus hydrochloric acid. They combine to form manganese chloride, water and chlorine. So in this reaction, this manganese dioxide loses oxygen and hence is called reduced. Here comes the next question. A shiny brown colored element X on heating in air becomes black in color. Name the element X and the black colored compound formed. So here it is a case of copper. Copper otherwise is a brown colored shiny element. When heated in air, it becomes black in color. So copper plus oxygen in presence of heat gives you copper oxide. So it is copper oxide, CuO. Hence the element X is copper and black colored compound formed is copper oxide. Now very interesting question comes here, which you must have experienced in your day-to-day life also. Here we find that why do we apply paint on iron articles? So you must have seen that most of the articles they're painted. So when an article made of iron come in contact with the moisture present in air, it forms iron oxide, as we call it rust. So rust is formed, iron uh, becomes rusty, or the articles become rusty, as we call such a phenomenon. Hence, to prevent an iron article to come in contact with moisture present in air, paint is applied. So thin layer of paint now is sort of a separates air of protection, moisture of air to react with iron, and this way the iron is prevented from getting rusted, and article has got a long life, or stays good for more duration. These two questions not part of your today's assignment, but quite important, so we go through quickly. Oil and fat containing food items are flushed with nitrogen. So this is a fourth part of your syllabus, the assignment rather. Why? You must have seen food items are flushed with nitrogen, and these packs are now very nicely packed in these articles we find in the market. So when fats and oils are oxidized, they become rancid and their smell and taste change. So with air, these fats and oils they react, and the compound formed is become is I mean somehow you find that taste is not good, and this phenomenon is called rancidity. So rancidity occurs in the articles having fats and oils. Now to prevent it, what is done? Food items containing oil and fat are flushed with nitrogen, which prevents them to get oxidized and becoming rancid. So all these chips and other such articles which you take in the market, you find them they are very nicely packed, airtight packing is there, and so it is flushed with nitrogen so that the oxygen of the air does not react, because when medium becomes in the medium it is nitrogen which is there, naturally rancidity won't take place. The last question, of course, the repeat of the first one, 19th or the previous question, as we find corrosion. Metals react with oxygen which is present in the atmospheric moisture. This leads to the formation of metal oxides or the metals. In due course of time, the metal keeps on changing into its oxide, and finally the whole metal is lost due to oxidation. Very commonly you must have seen iron articles getting rusted and subsequently are damaged. And this process is called, students, corrosion. So conversion of iron into rust leads to corrosion of the iron articles. So iron articles they weaken and subsequently they wither away, that is break them into various pieces. Another phenomenon which we have just discussed, rancidity. When fats and oils are oxidized, their smell and taste change. This oxygen is supplied by the air, remember. This process is called rancidity. Oily food often become rancid and start giving out obnoxious smell. The taste also becomes bad, and in fact in case of taking item you throw them. So such oily food is not fit for eating. Example is potato chips or other oily snacks are kept open for a long time. If we do so, then they become bad in taste and smell. So with this we finish this article, these important questions. So now just write these questions nicely, send them in the form of photograph along with the audio as our routine procedure. So your answers must reach within the specified time so that they can be checked and feedback could be given. Okay, bye bye.